My sibling is marrying someone I don't like. How do I handle the wedding? I 27F. My brother 31M is getting married to someone I just don't vibe with. I've tried to be supportive and polite, but it's been tough. I can't help but feel like she isn't the right match for him. Now, the wedding is around the corner, and I'm really struggling with how to handle it. It's such a tricky situation because, on one hand, he's my brother, and I want him to be happy. On the other hand, I have this nagging feeling that something isn't right with his choice of partner. I know I'm not the one in the relationship, but it's hard to ignore my concerns. When someone you love is getting married, you want to be nothing but happy for them. But what happens when you can't shake the feeling that the person they're marrying isn't the right one? This is where I find myself. My brother and I have always been close, so watching him commit to someone who just doesn't seem like a good fit has been really hard. I've asked myself many times if my reaction is fair. Is it just a clash of personalities, or do I have legitimate concerns? I know that, ultimately, his happiness should be my priority. And he does seem happy, which makes me feel even more conflicted. Maybe it's just me overthinking things, but there are so many little things that add up when I think about his fiancée. It's not like she's done anything overtly awful, but I've noticed how she talks to him and others, and it just rubs me the wrong way. Maybe it's the way she dismisses his opinions sometimes, or how she can be a little condescending. Still, who am I to judge? I'm not perfect, and I know relationships are complex. I'm aware that people can be different in private, that their dynamic might be something I just don't see or understand. But the fear that he's making a mistake lingers in my mind, and it's making it hard to be genuinely happy for him. Before the engagement, my brother had a few serious relationships. I didn't love all of his exes, but I was never this uncomfortable. I'm trying to figure out why this time feels different. Maybe it's because marriage feels so permanent and official. Once he's married, it's like he's officially entered a new chapter of his life, and I'm scared this new chapter might not bring him the happiness he deserves. It's not that I want him to be alone, but I want him to be with someone who truly appreciates and supports him. I've spent a lot of time reflecting on my own feelings, trying to separate my personal biases from legitimate concerns. I know I'm protective of him, maybe overly so. I've also been thinking about what this discomfort really means. Is it jealousy, fear of losing my brother to someone else, or am I genuinely worried about his well-being? It's probably a mix of all these things, but it's hard to pinpoint exactly what's making me so uneasy. Growing up, my brother and I were like two peas in a pod. We've been through so much together, and it's always been us against the world. Now, it feels like there's this new person who's becoming his main focus, and it's been a challenging adjustment for me. It's not that I'm against him getting married, but it feels like a shift in our relationship dynamic, and I'm struggling with that. Part of me feels like I should talk to him about how I feel, but then, what would I even say? Hey, I don't like your fiancée. Can you not marry her? That's not helpful or fair. He's a grown man, and he has the right to make his own choices, even if I don't agree with them. I don't want to be the reason there's tension or conflict in his relationship, especially not right before the wedding. I've thought a lot about how I can approach this situation with empathy and respect. I know it's not about me or how I feel, it's about him and his happiness. If he loves her and she makes him happy, that should be enough. But it's hard to just switch off my feelings. I don't want to be the bad guy, and I don't want to cause any drama, especially when they're about to start this new chapter of their lives. So, I'm trying to put myself in his shoes. If I were marrying someone he didn't like, how would I want him to handle it? I'd want him to be supportive, to trust my judgment, and to be there for me no matter what. So that's what I'm trying to do. I'm focusing on his happiness, and trying to let go of my own reservations. One thing that's helped is thinking about all the things I love about my brother, and how those qualities probably make him a good judge of character. He's kind, thoughtful, and has always been there for me. He's not a naive person, so I have to trust that he sees something in his fiancée that I'm missing. It's not easy, but I'm trying to give her the benefit of the doubt. I've decided that the best thing I can do is be supportive without compromising my own boundaries. I'll be there for him at the wedding, I'll celebrate with him, and I'll try to be as positive as I can. But I'm also going to set some boundaries for myself to protect my own well-being. Avoid gossip or negative talk. I've noticed that when I talk to certain family members, it's easy to fall into the trap of gossiping or venting about how I feel. I'm making a conscious effort to stop that. It's not helpful, and it only makes me feel worse. Plus, I don't want anything I say to get back to him or his fiancée and cause any hurt or drama. So I'm keeping my thoughts to myself as much as I can, and only confiding in a few close friends who I know won't judge or spread what I say. Taking breaks during the wedding. Weddings can be emotionally intense, even under the best circumstances. I'm planning to give myself permission to step away if I start to feel overwhelmed. Whether that means taking a quick walk outside or finding a quiet corner for a few minutes, I'm going to prioritize my own mental health so I can be present for him without letting my emotions take over. Bringing a supportive +1. I'm lucky to have a friend who's been a rock for me through all of this. I've invited them as my +1 to the wedding, and I know having someone there who understands how I'm feeling will make it easier for me to stay grounded. They've promised to help keep me calm and remind me to focus on my brother's happiness. Focusing on my relationship with my brother, I'm trying to remind myself that my relationship with my brother is separate from his relationship with his fiancée. I can be close to him and support him without necessarily liking her. I'm planning to reach out to him more, to make sure we have some one-on-one time where we can talk about things unrelated to the wedding or his fiancée. I want to reinforce our bond so that no matter what happens, he knows I'm always there for him. This has been one of the hardest parts for me. I've been on such an emotional roller coaster, going from feeling guilty for not liking her to feeling frustrated, that I can't just be happy for him. I'm trying to manage these emotions in a healthy way so they don't spill over into the wedding and create tension. Therapy and journaling. I've started seeing a therapist to help me process these feelings. It's been really helpful to have a neutral person to talk to, who can help me untangle why I feel the way I do. I'm also journaling a lot. Writing down my thoughts and emotions helps me get them out in a way that's private and safe. It's been a good outlet for the anger, sadness, and confusion I've been feeling. Mindfulness and meditation. I've been practicing mindfulness and meditation to help me stay present and calm. Whenever I start to feel overwhelmed, I take a few deep breaths and try to bring myself back to the moment. It's not a magic fix, but it helps me keep from spiraling into negative thoughts. Exercise and self-care. I've been making sure to take care of myself physically too. Exercising helps me burn off some of the anxious energy, and I'm making sure to eat well and get enough sleep. It's easy to let self-care slip when you're stressed, but I'm trying to be mindful of that so I can show up as my best self on the wedding day. Talking to trusted friends. I have a couple of close friends who know the whole situation and have been really supportive. They let me vent without judgment and remind me that it's okay to have mixed feelings. They've also been great at helping me see things from different perspectives, which has been really valuable. Family events can be tricky even under the best of circumstances, and weddings are no exception. With so many emotions running high, the last thing I want is to be the source of any conflict. I know that my feelings are valid, but I also know that this is not the time or place to air them out. So, I'm focusing on a few key strategies to keep the peace. Keep conversations neutral. I've already had a few tense conversations with family members who've noticed I'm not exactly thrilled about the wedding. Going forward, I'm planning to keep all my conversations as neutral as possible. If someone brings up something that makes me uncomfortable, I'll try to steer the conversation to a safer topic. I'm really happy for him, or it's going to be a beautiful day are going to be my go-to responses if I feel cornered. Avoid sensitive topics. There are certain topics that I know are landmines for me, like specific concerns I have about his fiancée or things she's said or done that have upset me. I'm making a point to avoid these topics entirely, even with people I trust. The more I talk about them, the more worked up I get, and that's not helpful for anyone. Have an exit strategy. If things get really tense, I've made a plan with my +1 to leave gracefully. Whether it's a sudden headache or needing some fresh air, I have a few excuses lined up that I can use if I need to step away from a difficult situation. This way, I can avoid getting into any arguments or confrontations that could ruin the day. Focus on the positives. It's easy to get caught up in all the things I don't like about this situation, but I'm trying to shift my focus to the positives. My brother is happy, and that's a big one. I'm also looking forward to seeing family members I haven't seen in a while, and celebrating a new chapter in his life, even if I have mixed feelings about it. I know the wedding day is going to be challenging, so I'm trying to prepare myself as best I can. I've thought a lot about how I want to show up, and the kind of energy I want to bring to the day. I don't want my discomfort to be the focus, so I'm working on a game plan to keep myself centered and positive. Setting intentions. I'm planning to set some intentions for the day. Things like I will focus on my brother's happiness, and I will be supportive and kind are going to be my mantras. I'm hoping that by keeping these intentions in mind, I can redirect my energy whenever I start to feel overwhelmed or negative. Practice gratitude. I'm also trying to practice gratitude. I'm grateful that my brother has found someone he wants to spend his life with, even if I don't fully understand it. I'm grateful for my own health and well-being, and for the support I have from friends and family. Focusing on what I'm grateful for helps me keep things in perspective, and reminds me that there's more to this day than just my personal feelings. Being present. One of the things I'm working on is being present in the moment. Weddings can be chaotic and emotional, and it's easy to get caught up in everything that's happening. I'm planning to take a few moments throughout the day to pause and take everything in. Whether it's watching my brother say his vows or dancing at the reception, I want to be fully present and soak in the joy of the day. Celebrating my brother. At the end of the day, this wedding is about celebrating my brother and his happiness. I'm planning to focus on him as much as I can. Whether it's giving a heartfelt toast, helping him with any last-minute details, or just being there with a smile, I want him to know that I'm there for him, no matter what. I know that the wedding is just the beginning of this new chapter for my brother and his fiancée. It's going to take time for me to fully accept this relationship, and I'm okay with that. I'm giving myself permission to feel what I feel, but I'm also committed to being there for my brother in the long run. Building a relationship with his fiancée. I know that if I want to stay close to my brother, I need to build some kind of relationship with his wife. I'm not saying we have to be best friends, but I want to try to find some common ground. I'm planning to reach out more, to invite them over for dinner, or to suggest activities we can do together. It's going to be awkward at first, but I think it's important to at least try. Checking in with my brother. I'm going to make an effort to check in with my brother regularly, just to see how he's doing. I don't want our relationship to change, just because he's married now. I'm going to make a point to call him, to suggest we grab coffee, or to just send him a text to let him know I'm thinking about him. I want him to know that I'm still here for him, no matter what. Giving it time. I know this is going to take time, and I'm giving myself permission to feel whatever I need to feel. I'm not going to force myself to like his fiancée overnight, but I'm also not going to let my feelings come between me and my brother. I'm hoping that, with time, I'll be able to see what he sees in her, and that my feelings will soften. Focusing on my own life. Lastly, I'm going to focus on my own life. This situation has taken up so much mental and emotional energy, and I know I need to redirect some of that back to myself. I have my own goals, dreams, and relationships to nurture. I'm planning to invest more time in my hobbies, in my friendships, and in my own growth. The more fulfilled I am in my own life, the easier it will be to support my brother in his.